is on Spring's phone.
Yeah, the entire building, phones are left out.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh, the phones are down in the building.
Oh,
So the entire
okay.
building is out, so Commissioner Ivy is now on.
so
cell-
whoever was watching wanted the commission to start funding cell phones, not landlines.
I'm good. Oh, can you hear me? Yes. Okay.
Okay, so let me get you recording.
And they need their mic on.
Yeah, push the button if you would. At the bottom.
She's got it for you.
There you go. Good. Okay,
You only turn on one of
we're
those. Or do you have
back,
to
and I
turn on
think we're
both?
back on live stream too, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're on, we've gone through a couple, and we're gonna resume with Justice Court. Thank you for coming. This is probably we're calling it 2 or 3 of our process. And this will give you an opportunity to kind of explain where you're at and how you came to the budgets, numbers that you have, and allow us to ask some questions. And then, of course, you have some requests, I believe, yes, some requests that are in there. So if you can go through that as well, and then we'll go to that point and go from there. So if you'd like to start, just kind of tell us about your budget, where you're at, how you came to these numbers, and what you'd like to see and do.
Okay, I'll let Kathy Davies explain it because she's the one that's the main one that's put it together and understands it the best. So Kathy, do you want to just kind of, you want us to compare it with last year, or?
You can do whatever methodology that you went through. I know we gave you some numbers to, kind of fit into the
Okay.
boxes, and
Yep.
you had to move it around, and it's part of the budgeting. And what we tried to do this year a little more was to get closer to a zero-based, budgeting practice in which you have to kind of build based off of a historical and needs and then the projection for the future too. So if
Okay.
you could go through that, it'd be great.
I went off the figures that I was given, came within that amount, adjusted a few line items, and was able to come up with the figure that was given to me. However, we do have additional budget requests, 5 of them. Number 1 is a step ladder increase, and it's actually happened this year in budget year 2017, but this is just a reflection of what will happen next year because it wasn't within the staffing schedule when it came out.
How come?
Okay, so.
Oh, I was gonna say, because
So
normally
it-
it's reflected.
yeah,
I'm like,
so-
normally that number gets put in
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah, so it happened to be for,
Okay.
yes. Number 2 is a step, requested for a step ladder increase. to
So all those are the same reason?
Uh-huh,
Okay.
yes. And then number 5 is we have a refrigerator that's close to about 25 years old that we use for food for juries and things, and we've had it fixed a couple of times and we're afraid it's about on its last leg, so that's pretty bare bones budget, and we're not asking for anything else.
Okay. So I have a question for you. Your travel, last year you asked for 10,000, you've only spent 5,200.
Mm-hmm.
You asked for special department supplies of 5,700 and you only spent 2,100. So you actually have money in there already for a refrigerator
Yes,
for this year.
yes, we do.
So I don't know why we would have a request.
Well, I put it in, but, I mean, if it would get approved, we would purchase it this year.
Well,
That would be
I'm just saying,
fine.
if you have budget,
Uh-huh.
now, doesn't a refrigerator fall under special department supplies? It does to me.
Well, it'd probably be a 7420 account item because we tag it based upon the dollar value
Okay.
of it. So,
Okay.
As a
but
one-time.
they could do a transfer.
And then you
So-
have overtime in your budget for the first time in ever.
We actually did request it last year, but we have been having more jury trials, and so that does require a clerk, the judges to stay after, so,
Okay.
that's the reason why. I mean, and we may
So
not
how do you-
necessarily use
You're
that,
just projecting that.
just projecting that,
Okay,
yes.
so if we restricted it, that wouldn't be a problem because you may or may not use it. Okay. My other question is, on Justice Court fines, they have dropped drastically over 7 years. Why?
I did a little bit of research, found out it's the Ferguson effect.
Which is what?
which is, do you want to?
That's interesting situation. The Ferguson effect is when, now I should refresh my memory on that case, but it was a case where I think a young man was shot and the officers were questioned as to whether there was, anyway, there was some protests about it and different things and officers. And so this is a statewide phenomenon. It's not just Utah County Justice Court. It's Provo City, it's every court throughout the state, even district courts. The caseloads, the numbers of cases referred to the courts have dropped. And by having the cases that are referred, we obviously have no control over the police agencies and what tickets they refer to us. But
But don't all the sheriff's department citations come to you guys?
all the
Most of them,
misdemeanors,
all the
most-
misdemeanors.
Because they have had a steady incline, so this was what was interesting. I only looked back the last 3 years since I've been here, basically. They have had almost a 10% increase in citations. So that's where the correlation isn't matching for me. They have an increase in citations written as a department, but we have still decreased 10%.
Issuing citations?
They have issued more citations. In fact, if I remember the exact number, 2014, they issued 5,800, and this last year, they were over 7,000.
Then it must be felonies that they're writing, because yeah, I don't agree with that.
The filings are down.
The
with
filings
courts.
are down,
Okay.
way
Filings are
down.
from
Would you
100.
mind getting us what your filings are number, so we can compare those? Because that's the disconnect for me, is that's hard to understand how citations
Yeah.
could go up and see a
Yeah.
continual revenue
Yeah.
drop. That's,
And we do handle Utah Highway Patrol citations too, but we've noticed that it's across the board. It's
Okay.
not just one agency.
Not just sheriff's department.
yeah, if you
Sheriff's
wouldn't mind for
Department-
the last, maybe just 2 or 3 years, just
Okay.
show me
So
what's that
Sheriff's
number is.
Department's down, the Highway Patrol's down, the Parks and Recreation, all of the agency that give us tickets are
Hills.
down from what they are sending us. So that's
Okay.
very interesting.
So we should be clapping and saying this is great because everyone's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that,
society is
that's just
not-
what's disconcerting is
Yeah.
Mike Forsey literally gave me numbers that showed an increase.
Really?
That's why I wanted to verify them and let's find
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I
We'd
would
like
be
to have those same
surprised to see
numbers
those
Sure.
numbers.
compare what they are sending to justice court and the district court, I guess, is what we need to do is have that breakdown of what the numbers are for our court. Because, yeah, unfortunately, they're down with us. But again, it's, some courts are down 50%. And, so of course, if we don't have as many citations, people sent to us, we're not handling as many cases, which is gonna result in the revenues going down because we're just on the mere fact we're not handling as many cases.
Well, and that's okay. I
That-
just, like I say,
There's a good and a bad side to that. Yeah, it's good in the sense that not as many people are committing crimes, but, is that really the case too, though?
Right,
And the
right.
Ferguson effect is indicating that officers are not out on the street, and doing or not stopping as many people. So
that's
a
why
lot of-
his
lot of-
citation number to me was so interesting,
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah, so of course, when officers stop, a lot of crimes are detected from traffic stops. That's where so many illegal activities are detected, or through traffic stops. And that Ferguson effect, and then of course, we've noticed a decline when Corey Ride got shot as a traffic stop. There was a decline there locally. And so if they're not doing as many traffic stops, they're not observing as many illegal activities, such as drugs and firearms and so forth, and DUIs. Anyway,
So where does your citation, or they comes from Sheriff's Department, where else?
Sheriff's and Highway Patrol are the main two sources.
Sheriff's and Highway Patrol.
Highway Patrol.
And then we do handle Park and Recreation and
Park
the
and-
wildlife
Sure.
citations.
Which are
We
probably very
have
few.
noticed too that they used to do a bunch of canyon patrols during the summertime, and
They are really
they're
down.
down on those too.
If you have a breakdown, I would absolutely love to see those numbers for the last 3 years.
We would be happy to provide them
I
for you.
appreciate it.
Because again, it's both of the good and the bad. I mean, we're
Yep.
not saying that,
Because we added a
it's not a
canine
good
patrol
thing
not
to
too
have a
long
lot of
Yeah.
citations, but our population has grown, the number of police officers on the road has not declined, and yet the number of
No, it's
referrals.
increased.
It's increased?
It's
The number of
increased.
referrals to the courts, not just our court. If it was just our court, we'd start taking it personally. But it's not just our court. I go to the spring conferences last year, that was one of the main topics of discussion throughout the state is all the courts are experiencing a decline in the number of filings.
And that's where, for me, on a budget, not talking about the politics or what's going on out there, but just looking at the numbers,
Yeah,
on a budgetary basis, it throws up red flags and alarms when we see the court costing more and more and more and more, and yet it seems like the revenue's going down and down. They're not matching. You know, there should be some sort of correlation with them that say if we're actually going down in the revenue coming in, then we should probably be going down with some of the services as well to match where we're at, instead of getting ourselves out of balance.
now, are you saying our costs of operating the court are going up?
Well, they always
They sh-
go up because annually there's pay increases automatically. I mean, just
Okay.
by nature, they automatically go
Well,
up.
I'll give you an example. So I've got, let's just look at total subtotals down here. See, where am I at for totals over the year? So in 2012, it was just over $1 million. And I guess the current one is 1.4 million grand total. So there's a $400,000 increase there, and yet the revenue over that same period of time has gone from 2.3 million down to 1.4, so
Yeah, I was
there's a
thinking in
$1
terms
million
of,
decrease.
I was thinking in terms that we've asked for more personnel and stuff like that, but
Oh,
with Mr. Graves, Commissioner Graves' comment, I see raises and so forth. But as far as personnel and things we've asked for, we've really kind of maintained a
Yeah.
level, so but I can see why it's increased. Okay.
Just as a side note, this 2017 budget, that we have gone several months without replacing people to see if we would be able to go without them.
And it will be reflected.
And so, our budget will be
Sure.
considerably less
So-
this year of expenditures.
Yeah.
yeah, the
But
actuals.
we are gonna replace them at some point, but we have tried to help out that
Sure.
way too,
And we
just to
appreciate
see.
that.
Yeah.
That's the management the commission's always looking for, so we appreciate that. So basically, as I look at your orange sheet, because of the date of the report, we don't need to talk about the first ones, that will be encumbered automatically if that's already happened. I would work through Deneen and, the commission on using appropriate budget funds for this year for the additional request. I don't see a need to keep that in next year's budget.
That'd be great if
That
we
is
could get it
identifying.
approved, yeah.
But, yeah,
So
we'll continue
basically,
on
you're
that.
saying
I'm-
we have the okay to go ahead and look at replacing the fridge this year?
Yeah,
if we have the
if we
funds?
can identify in your budget, which it looks like there's plenty, then
Yeah.
I don't see why we wouldn't.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
because we did that last year with like the
With
With
the
the
shredders
shredders,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think just use that same methodology to,
that'd be great.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
well, and if you will get that report to us at
So-
your earliest convenience, we would appreciate
So
that.
you'd like
Yeah,
a breakdown
especially-
of the citations, the filings from the sheriff's department for
Yes.
the last 2 or 3 years?
And even if you have them by type, that would be
Type?
great.
When could you get that to us, just out of
Ye-
curiosity?
I'm not sure if that report is available through Chorus, but I can get them to write something that will, so it just depends on their
Okay.
timetable, but I'll get it right on it as soon as I get
I
back.
He gets
appreciate
right
it.
on
Thank you.
things.
Can you get it before Monday, the October 16th?
I should be
days.
able to, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to meet again about that, or
Did-
just submit it to you?
Just an email
Yeah,
would be
just
fine.
Just an
to
email
us,
to
yeah.
all three
All
of
three
you.
of us.
Okay.
Okay, is there?
I heard Commissioner Ivy's faint voice, I heard it.
Oh, was that, this is him down here? I was wondering what that was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that, from my perspective, the biggest thing I'd like to see is this report, on your citations, the trends, and where that's headed, so we can analyze that.
Yeah, very good. And trust me, we're concerned about it too. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, But that's a very
I've
easy
talked to the
explanation, I
sheriff,
appreciate it.
we've talked to members of the highway patrol, and, it's kind of interesting. how, yeah, they're just, I don't know, they're just not referring tickets
Do-
in general.
When did Ferguson happen? Because I'm
Oh,
just,
this
Do you
is,
believe with the highway patrol that part of that could have been with the change in the speed limit?
oh, yes,
Yeah,
oh, that's a
that-
good
That could
observation.
have been some of it
That,
too.
we did see, it. Yes, Commissioner Ivy, that is a good observation. When the speed limit went up to 70 miles per hour, yeah, there was a drop off there too.
And the
And it's like,
construction.
I mean, really, the
Construction.
enforcement from the highway patrol really dropped for several months. And then they started, but
But when I did contact Highway Patrol about the filings, that was where the Ferguson effect, that was the first thing that was mentioned.
so
to me.
Ferguson happened in, what year was that? I'm just, because it looks,
I
seems
could
like
Google
we've
it
had
again
Yeah, I
and give
can't
you,
really remember now.
2014. So,
That's
I mean,
what I
our
was thinking.
decline's been a little longer than
Uh-huh,
it's been going
Yes.
before that.
yeah.
Okay, all right,
Thank you.
Deneen, do you
Thank
have
you.
anything? Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Hey, that's it for budget today.
That's it.
We'll see ya on the coast.